please.
Alderman Catalano. Alderman Jacob.
Here.
Alderman Messina.
Here.
Alderman Sorrentino.
Here.
Alderman Sizmarsky.
Here.
Alderman E. Wesley.
Here.
Alderman R. Wesley.
Here.
Alderman Woods.
Here.
Mayor Police.
Here, I declare quorum present. Please stand, join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I need a motion to approve the special council meeting minutes of August 13.
Make that motion.
Second.
Corrections? Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, do any citizens wish to be heard on matters not listed on the agenda? Did you wish to speak? Oh, okay.
Variance, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
A.
Okay.
206 Walter Drive.
Wait. Okay. All right. I have no written communiques. On the mayor's report, the first item is going to be pushed back to September 3rd. Second item is a resolution celebrating the 25th anniversary of the passage of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Whereas nearly 1 in 5 residents in the United States have a disability, and whereas the population of people with disabilities is increasing among all age groups. And whereas people with disabilities are more likely to be disadvantaged socially, vocationally, economically, and educationally. And whereas the Americans with Disabilities Act was signed into law on July 26, 1990 by President George H.W. Bush. And whereas it is appropriate to pause and celebrate, recognize the Americans with Disabilities Act as a wide-ranging and landmark piece of civil rights legislation that prohibits discrimination based on disability. And whereas in enacting the American with Disabilities Act, Congress recognized that persons with disabilities have a history of being subject to unequal treatment, and the nation's goals regarding individuals with disabilities are to assure equality of opportunity, full participation, independent living, and economic self-sufficiency. And whereas the ADA has expanded opportunities for Americans with disabilities by reducing barriers and changing perceptions and increasing full inclusion in community life. And whereas despite the great strides that people with disabilities have made as a result of the American with Disabilities Act, barriers remain. And whereas the goals of the ADA 25 are to foster public recognition that disability is a natural part of the human experience and expand opportunities for people with disabilities to participate fully in civic, social, and economic life of the nation, our state, and our community. Now therefore be it resolved by the City of Wooddale that the most effective way in which to celebrate this milestone 25-year anniversary of the Americans with Disability Act is to reaffirm our opposition to discrimination based on disability and to strive to promote full implementation of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And be it further resolved that we encourage the reduction of stigma and discrimination against people with disabilities through education and training. And be it further resolved that we support the pursuit of programs to ensure the spirit and founding provisions of the Americans with Disabilities Act are maintained, implemented, and enforced. And they need a motion.
Make that motion.
Second. Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, Payroll Week proclamation. Whereas the American Payroll Association and its more than 21,000 members have launched a nationwide awareness campaign that pays tribute to more than 156 million people who work in the United States and the payroll professionals who support the American system by paying wages, reporting worker earnings, and withholding federal employment taxes. And whereas payroll professionals in Wooddale play a key role in maintaining the economic health of the city of Wooddale, carrying out such diverse tasks as paying into the unemployment insurance system, providing information for child support, enforcement, and carrying out tax withholding, reporting, and depositing. And whereas the payroll departments collectively spend more than $15 billion annually complying with myriad federal and state wage and tax laws. And whereas payroll professionals play an increasing important role in ensuring the economic security of the American families by helping to identify non-custodial parents and making sure that they comply with their child support mandates. And whereas payroll professionals have become increasingly proactive in educating both the business community and the public at large about the payroll tax withholding systems. And whereas payroll professionals meet regularly with the federal and state tax officials to discuss both improving compliance with government procedures and how compliance can be achieved at less cost to both government and businesses. And whereas the week in which Labor Day falls has been proclaimed National Payroll Week, I hereby give additional support to the efforts of the people who work in Wooddale, Illinois, and the payroll profession by participating the first full week of September payroll week for Wooddale, Illinois. Now therefore, I, Mayor Annunziata, please recognize September 6, 2015, September through September 12th as National Payroll Week in Wooddale.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. That concludes my report. Mr. Murmas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Two items for those residents at home that are not aware yet. Wooddale Road and Irving Park Road. Actually, the tip of Wooddale Road would be closed from September 15th through Monday, October 5th. That is for the safety improvement project to allow them to put in new metro tracks along with some other improvements in that area. The construction's ongoing. There's quite a bit of activity out there to date, and that will continue throughout the year. Second item, also for those of you interested, you can go to wooddale.com/construction to get updates on that specific project, as well as the ongoing Thorndale Elgin O'Hare Tollway project.
Alderman Roy Wesley.
Is both sides of their road gonna be closed at the same time?
Yes.
You can't,
East and,
North and south.
north and south.
yeah, it'll be completely closed.
So,
Just go ahead.
how is how's the fire department gonna, do they got an ambulance on both sides? I mean, if residents ask.
We'll double check that with the fire department.
There's a detour route that's been established, so that's posted on the web.
Okay, thank you.
Second item, for
Jeff?
those,
Go ahead, yes.
Are we gonna have any posted signage
the,
prior?
Go ahead, Jeff.
the construction company in charge of the project should be posting some signs out there sometime soon. We could probably throw our own sign up there too. 2 weeks, they're starting to post those. 2 weeks prior. 2 weeks prior. We could throw our own up there probably as well, or no? Oh yeah, it's probably too crazy out there. I do know we were planning similar to the O'Hare Noise Workshop, how we isolated the message for the workshop on the city sign and didn't change the sign slide for a couple days. For a couple days before the road closure, we'll make sure that no signs rotate. It'll just be that one message on the city electronic sign.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hey, while we going to look at electronic signs, in the park district, there, can we just contact them and see if they can post them on their signs too? I mean, on Foster Avenue, see if the park district will put a sign up there, and the fire district, and I don't know, does the school have one at the junior high? I mean, see if we could get it really out there, I mean.
And Metro?
Let's reach out to everyone.
Do you have anything further?
Yeah, second item was about the O'Hare Noise public hearings. Those were held recently, and just in case you were interested in any of the numbers for attendees, there were 4 different workshops. Going in ascending order, the Chicago workshop had 409 attendees. The Elk Grove workshop had 411. The Niles workshop had 595. And the Bensonville workshop, which was the workshop that Wooddale advocated their residents to attend, led the pack with 815 attendees. So there was a total of 2,230 attendees, and that was just in person. We also had submittals from the letter that we had sent out. I think that was close to 100 submittals from that as well, just on the Wooddale. And that concludes my report unless anybody has questions.
Just one item. Thorndale's going to go down, not Thorndale, but Wooddale Road at Thorndale is going to go down to 2 lanes. Do we have a specific date yet, or not yet? I know it's later in the year.
There was an estimated date. I don't think there's a specific yet, but again, you can go to wooddale.com/construction, and we
Okay.
put updates on there as they happen, and for sure, every Friday it's updated.
Correct. Alderman Woods, you had your hand up?
Yeah, to the city manager. I got a lot of phone calls from people who didn't get the letter that we sent out about Eric, and I got a couple calls where people got. I'm sorry. I got a lot of calls where people didn't receive the letter, and then I got a couple calls where people received like 20 in an envelope. Can we look at how we do that, or do we have a better list? Or-
Mr. Murmas.
I mean, there's got to be a better.
Yeah, we've already started that process. We are aware of that issue. It was an issue with the post office that we're working on correcting. I'm assuming by the time we do a next big mailer, that problem would be solved, but it was a post office issue, so we were aware of that.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I think what happened, we sent to all the water bills, and all the condo buildings only get one water bill, so that's where the
Right.
problem came in, and I know staff is working to correct that. Yes, Alderman Jacob.
This is a city manager to do the city newsletter. That does go to every single resident in town, correct?
Mr. Murmas.
Yeah, that's got a different permit than what we used for the other mailer, so that's correct. But that's not held under our name, which was part of the problem with that, so we have to correct that.
All right. Next, if no objections, we have 4 items on the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We don't have no objections, correct? Questions? Roll call.
Alderman Catalano, Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Messina,
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino,
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky,
Yes.
Alderman E. Wesley, Alderman R. Wesley,
Yes.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
And that passes. Next, entertain a motion to approve the items on the agenda. Item number 1, a resolution seeking to approve a contract between the City of Wooddale and A-Lamp Construction for Hemlock Sidewalk Project in a not-to-exceed amount of $153,295. Item number 2, a resolution seeking to approve a contract between the City of Wooddale and Robinson Engineering for the design and construction management of the Ward 3 Stormwater Project in a not-to-exceed amount of $79,070. Item number 3, an ordinance authorizing an amendment to variation ordinance number O-05-061 to allow for the solid enclosure of an outdoor deck railing located at 396 West Irving Park Road. Item number 4, an ordinance authorizing variation from the residential fence height requirement in the City Unified Development Ordinance to allow for a 6-foot-high solid fence located at 171 Pine Street. Do I have a motion?
I make that motion.
Second.
Comments, questions? Roll call.
Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Messina,
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino,
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky,
Yes.
Alderman E. Wesley,
Yes.
Alderman R. Wesley,
Yes.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
And that passes. Next, committee chairman reports, planning and zoning, Alderman Sismarski.
We have no report, Mayor.
Thank you. Public health and safety, Alderman Eugene Wesley.
Mayor, I have one report, a resolution seeking approval on a side letter agreement between the City of Wooddale and the Teamsters Local 700 regarding telecommunication. That is my motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Questions? Roll call.
Alderman Jacob.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino.
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky.
Yes.
Alderman E. Wesley.
Yes,
Alderman R. Wesley.
Yes.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
that is the end of my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Public Works Committee, Alderman Woods.
I have, Mike, you want to take these? All right. Mike's forward over there. He wants to take over. I have two, Mayor. A resolution seeking to approve a contract between the City of Wooddale and Copenhagen Construction for the Elizabeth Court Detention Pond Project in a not-to-exceed amount of $152,204.45. That
your
is my motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Questions? Roll
Oh,
call.
that's what I said.
Alderman Jacob.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino.
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky.
Yes.
Alderman E. Wesley.
Yes,
Alderman R. Wesley.
Yes.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
And that passes.
Next is a resolution authorizing the execution of a letter of intent with the Village of Itasca and the City of Wooddale for entry into an intergovernmental agreement for the reconstruction of Mill Road. That is my motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Questions? Alderman Eugene Wesley?
Mr. Mayor, are we paying for it all and then they reimbursing us on their portion, or how are we doing that? Or, because do we know their costs?
Brad, do you want, oh, Matt, you going to take that one? Mr. York, go ahead.
We do not know what their costs are going to be per se. It's 6% of the roadway part of the project. So we won't know that price until we get to the bidding portion of it. And then ultimately at the end of the game, I'll let Attorney Bond will answer how we're going to do
Mr.
the
Bond.
logistics of it.
Yeah, what'll happen is, once we get the, all the figures, then that will be incorporated in an intergovernmental agreement, and reimbursement will go according to that.
Okay.
Go ahead, follow up, go ahead.
Did this already go out for bid? I thought
Mr.
the
York.
bids came back correct.
The bids came back for the design portion of this. That is going to come forward to the council pretty soon. Once it's designed, then it will have to be bid. So the bid won't happen until probably sometime in February or March.
Also, the
Go ahead.
design.
Yeah.
Sorry. The
So
design-
we're going to cover all the design of it, since there's only 6% of the
Right.
roadway portion
So
of
the
the project.
design is done.
No,
No,
it's,
Oh,
you
it's
haven't,
not? Okay.
you have, as a council, have not approved a design
Okay.
contract yet.
Okay, thank you.
all right. Alderman Jacob.
Just a question, and with this being signed, I mean, if this price comes out astronomical, could Itasca say no when
Mr.
it comes
Bond?
down to it?
Yeah, I mean, this is their letter of intent with respect to that, so if the project comes in and it's not financially feasible, then no one needs to move forward with it.
Mr. Murmas.
Just for the new council members that weren't on board when we started working on this project, just like to remind or tell you guys that the council was able to secure $800,000 in grants for this project, which is probably the most we've ever got for such a small project. $800,000 is quite a bit of money for this type of project. So the council is definitely good stewards with this one for those two that are new and that you did not know. $800,000 in grant money for this project.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Alderman Jacob.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino.
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky.
Yes.
Alderman E. Wesley.
Yes,
Alderman R. Wesley.
Yes.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
And that passes.
And sadly, that is the end of my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Woods. Finance Administration, Alderman Jacobs.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Under other business, O'Hare Noise Group,
No.
Alderman Jacob.
No report.
Stormwater, Alderman Jacob.
No report.
Okay, we need a approval list of bills, August 20th. And a list of bill, yeah. Alderman Jacob, go ahead.
I make a motion to approve the list of bills of August 20th, 2015 for $372,359.30.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions on any of the bills? Roll call, please.
Alderman Jacob.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino.
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky.
Yes.
Alderman E. Wesley.
yes,
Alderman R. Wesley.
Yes.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
And that passes. We need no executive session, no items to be referred. Need a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.